and not all marketing works for everything. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
In my market, I'm not going to go TV, and I'm not going to do a whole bunch with radio. It's kind of like, oh, whatever. So you have to find what works. You have to when you talk to somebody here locally, or I deal with a company out in Oregon that I use for marketing. You know, they have ideas. They work with other people, but yeah, it's a thing. Here's another thing I'm going to go off on before, because I want to ask you about business climate, because I've noticed a couple things. I want to see if you've noticed it.
Okay.
We're having a thought. I was mowing the yard last night, or was last night or the night before it rained on Saturday night. We're talking about technicians, and there are always this stuff out here. Owners groups. There's HVC hacks, and a friend of mine calls a company that happens to be named with a clock that talks about the hour of the day. Calls them the white shirts, because they don't fix anything. So
Yeah.
you know. Um, you know, Obviously, for what we do in my business, my installers go out and install equipment. My service techs go out and they fix, and they service and they do maintenance. This is something I see a lot, I hear a lot, and I grew up as a technician. Now, understanding that as being part of a technician, part of what you're doing, it is sales. And no one like, I hate the word selling technician. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, if you're doing a good job as a technician, doing your job, and you're going out and finding problems and fixing problems, and they're legit. I mean, I'm not calling a capacitor fucking a high microfarad start assist, or some fancy freaking bullshit name for doing
Okay.
a repair. Oh, that just drives me nuts. We're there to take care of the customer and do service. Now, the stuff we're going to do, we're not going to give it away, and we
Mhm.
shouldn't give it away. But I know there's some guys that are just driven so damn hard about their technician sales. Oh, my techs ain't doing this; they're not doing this revenue. And I'm this. And listen, I believe in following a. There's a 10-step process for techs. This isn't exclusive to one brand or
Right.
whatever. They do
Yeah.
it all over the country. Um, you know, but I hear this term about, well, all technicians are worried about sales. If a technician is doing his job, he's doing it. Number one, he's built trust with the customer. He's going down finding problems, and he's recommending solutions. And if the customer decides to do it, great. If the customer decides not to do it, well, that's on them. But the industry's kind of gotten a bad name because we're just about pushing. We're pushing IQ. We're pushing dynamic, by the way. We're pushing certain things. What's your thought? And without ruffling feathers, which that might be impossible for you to do. I get that. What's your thought as far as technicians going doing their job versus selling techs? I hate it. I don't like it. I want my techs to be good at doing their job. If they're doing their job, the numbers will take care of themselves. It's how I've always operated. It's how I've trained my techs to operate. Now, I don't have the highest tech numbers out there per se, as far as whatever, but we're
Mhm.
not eating freaking ramen either. And I kind of want your thoughts on that.
I think it's a balance. I think, there's only one way for your business to work, and that's to have revenue coming in, right? Well,
You're right, and I'm not saying you can't be out there working zero
right.
dollar tickets. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And so we can't just, because we have to be customer centric, if and be, we have values that if we don't adhere to, eventually our clientele will know that we're, not doing the right thing. So we want to do the right things. We want our
Bingo.
folks to do the right things. Now the problem with technicians, when they if they're left up to their own devices, they're probably going to find the least to do. We have to continue to encourage them.
No.
So, especially, on an hourly basis, you know, they know they get off in an hour. Are they going to make the right offerings that they need to make? Because it's going to make this customer's home, you know, that much better. But they get off in an hour. Do they really want, do they have the part on their van? Are they going to push that because they want to get, are they going to do it or are they not because they want to get off in an hour, right? That's the kind of
Hmm.
psychology we have to work through from a business owner standpoint. We have to encourage our technicians, our service professionals to go out and not necessarily sell but do right by the customer by making the offerings that are going to make their HVAC system or plumbing or whatever work to
Whatever it
the
is.
maximum capacity that they want. And that
Yeah.
varies by customer, and that takes time to figure out what does this customer truly want or need from their HVAC system. And so we can give them those solutions for them to make those choices. Now, we don't ever coach anybody. We don't ever want our technicians to be pushy at all. But the ones that sell are the ones that have the conversations about what the offerings are. The problem with if you're not tracking your numbers and you're not, having some type of expectations is they'll never make the offering, they'll never have the conversation because a lot of our guys and ladies are they're not naturally customer centric. They're
Mm-hmm.
naturally equipment centric. They want to go to the equipment, they want to fix it, and they want to go out and move on because that's what they do. Well, we have to have the conversation with the customer. We have to understand what their needs are. If we're having that conversation, we're satisfying their needs, we're making the offerings that maximize their systems, capabilities, efficiency, reliability, safety, then we did our job. If we're not doing that, because nobody knows about IAQ in the world, very few people, very
Yeah.
few customers know about it. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
about some of the other things that we can do to their system to enhance it, and they may want those
Mm-hmm.
things, but they're not getting told. And that's the struggle. Is am I preparing my service professionals to go out and do the right things with the customers consistently? Well, how do I know? Well, I know if
Your
they're just going to,
your numbers.
yeah, if I know if they're just having a conversation with that, they're going to close some of these right at a certain
Yeah.
percentage, and that's the only way we can really gauge them, unless we're walking along doing ride-alongs with them all the time, which is not a bad
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah. Well.
so
Yeah.
that's
Well.
I think it's
I
a balance.
I want to do right along to the point, and that's okay. Got better things to do than critique fucking phone calls all day long. I
Yeah.
know there's some business owners do that. I'm like, I'm better off if we got a problem pacified, get the customers pacified or satisfied, and moving on and trying to make money versus critiquing damn phone calls. Just some of this, I know that's going off my door, but I think you're right. You have to. But here's my thing with technicians if and here's how and God, I'll never forget this. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Scott Getchman, God, he sold these UV lights, and I'm not against UV. Okay,
Mhm.
I just the bulbs. I don't give a shit what the technology is. I used to sell UV for 4 years, so you can't tell me otherwise as a manufacturer's rep. UV lasts about 9,000 hours before the killing power goes away. They might have improved the bulbs at 12 or 15,000 hours, but year and a half, the bulbs go dead. Bulbs are 50, $100. They bust. People, you spend five, six, 7, $800 on these. You come back every year and a half and you're replacing this purple bulb. And after two or three times, like, okay, well, are we really getting the return on these purple bulbs? Or B, you bust them or you do whatever. So I won't say it don't work. I'm just saying, and I understand the residual sales side of it,
Mhm.
but my experience has not been great when it comes to that. And I told Scott when we first sold these, I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit, you know. And then somehow they had a giveaway at the company meet up in Fremont, Nebraska. God, I hate that place. But I happened to mysteriously win this UV ball.
Yeah.
UV. It says, "Go put it in your house," and I don't hear another damn word out of it. I did. Okay, my kids had a little bit less issues with whatever, but
Yeah.
I just like, I mean, so, but
What?
but going back to what I was saying though,
Mhm.
my thought is if technicians don't believe in it, they're not going to talk to customers about it.
Yep.
If you like humidifiers, if you like certain things, if a tech doesn't believe it, I mean, listen, I'm a Chevy guy. We all know this. I love my John Deere tractors. I love my Iowa Hawkeyes. Okay, I have certain things that I believe in. If you come in and you're a friggin' Baylor fan, you try to tell me that Baylor's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm gonna tell you that as an Iowa fan, go kick rocks, right? You're full of it. Okay, but when it comes to parts, technicians need to see what the parts are. you
Yeah.
know, or what it is. What can it do for the homeowner, you know? And there's that show. They need to have that. And I really feel, and I think a lot of people miss on this, to where if you want a technician, you want to start promoting a product. Let your technicians get their hands on play. Let them see the value of it. If they see the value of it, man, they'll freaking, you know, they'll talk to everybody about it.
That
But if they don't see value in it,
that
then
is sorry.
then they're
Yeah.
gonna say go kick rocks.
Yeah. No, Travis, you're hitting on something that I coach is, well, I can't get my guys to talk about it. Well, have you had a conversation with them as a team on do they believe in that product or not? Because I tell them your first sale that you have to make on a product line is to your service professionals. That's your
Uh,
first. That's the first. Those are the people you have to sell if you want them to go out and actually move anything, because they have to
yeah.
believe in it. And a lot of these technicians aren't going to have they're not going to have a conversation if they don't understand it, because it's going to be awkward. And I get a thumbs up, I guess, when I do that. Okay. Um, because it's an awkward, it's a struggle for them, and they're typically not really wanting to have any problems at home. They want to go fix this thing and move on, right? So they have to be confident, and they have to understand the material or what it actually does to be able to explain to the customer. So we have to solve for those problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
As business owners. So you're right. Give them all the material, help them understand it. You know, if you really want to sell it, go let them put it in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Say,
Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
and let
Go
them
try
test
it
it out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I've got my tech Justin. I mean, if I want to find out if something doesn't work or pick the goddamn thing apart, I'm going to Justin say, okay, I know you're going to tell me this thing don't freaking work. So you tell me what the problem is or the what if
yeah.
situation is. And if he comes, oh yeah, I really like it. Okay, it must be pretty good because he'll do this. I'll think something's really good. He'll come back. Well, it does this, but I go, oh shit, here.
Right. And that's actually really good for our customers too, so that we understand the limits of some of these products. But yeah, you have to sell your service professionals first before they're going to go out and push anything or make a recommendation. I shouldn't say push, or make a recommendation to a client in the field.
If
So
this is something
100%.
you should have or you need, and here's why. And every situation is different. Do they have kids that have allergies or have health issues or whatever? You don't know, and you don't, especially as first time customer. If customers you built relationships with or time with, you have ideas. Or you know, here's my thing. If you, I've had more conversations with customers, my techs have. They'll recommend something today. Maybe they can't do it today. They'll call 3 months, 6 months, a year later. Hey, I'm ready to do this now.
Hmm. Oh
You
yeah.
know, I want to do it. I didn't have the money to do it at that time. I just wasn't comfortable, but now I want to do it. You know what? And that comes back down to just coming and having a conversation. You know, like I said, I'll service someone's equipment for 20 years, you know, but when it's time to replace, but hopefully we've done a good enough job on our work that they're not going to shop around 10 companies and just try to get the cheapest price. They're going to know that we're going to take care of them.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not, listen, if you're all about just getting a $20,000 sale to each call, moving on, you're working at the wrong, I mean, we don't operate that way. Some companies do. You know, but I would have customers for a long time. And now with the plumbing side is kind of a legacy part because, you know, second generation, you're going a little bit
Hmm.
different avenue, but, you know, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. And so how you treat your business and how you treat your customers have a lot to do with that. So,
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And
so
obviously, for you to do what you do in your area, you've got to keep that as a focal point. And you have to address it quickly when your folks aren't adhering to what your vision of your business is. If they're, you know, we will come across people that will sell a capacitor when they don't need it. They
mm-hmm.
will, you know, take a motor out that may not need to be taken out potentially, and that's a kind of a stretch on that one. But um, there are people that will do things like that. Um,
or
so
or
we have,
or change the name of something and give it, you know, unless it is my friend
yeah,
calls them the white shirts.
yeah,
That's always my favorite.
yeah,
So
exactly.
last thing I want to ask you about, I know you take an hour, your wife's probably going, well, how long is it going to take? You got shit you're going to do outside.
Didn't kick me out
So,
yet, so we're in good shape.
yeah, well, that's good. So last thing I want to ask you about, kind of seeing what you've seen. You know, economy wise, you know, you talked about, you started there back in 2019. started a business, COVID hit, and I would say that this has probably been, as far as business wise, what I would call the first normal year since COVID.
Hmm.
Because, when where or at least around here, I can't speak across the country, but business wise, and it's not just HVAC. A lot of people are saying, interest is up, money's a little bit tighter. I mean, you have there's 0% offers out there, but you're paying the interest one way or the other on the 0%, whether you know it or not,
Right.
or someone's self financing it.
Hmm.
So you're seeing that people, the purchases, I mean, the price for a furnace and AC system now compared to 4 years ago has damn near doubled. I mean,
Oh,
my
yeah.
pricing now is like, I sell my better best system. It's $15,000, and you're like, holy shit, But the equipment and the labor and material, it's adding up. But I think we're seeing this around here to where it's an election year, but
Hmm.
it's since COVID's hit, it's kind of been everybody's been balls to the walls, and people just want to get stuff done. And I think this is the first time where I've seen people kind of hit the brakes a little bit, see a lot more price shopping per se. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but price shopping, maybe value shopping is the word I would use. And people are not as fast to pull the trigger. And you can see now we've been pretty fortunate for the most part, but we've had to dig a little bit deeper this year than maybe what we have in the past. I kind of want to just kind of get from you. You talk to contractors all over. Well, maybe not as much, but you've talked about what are you kind of seeing around the country? Is it, I, you know, I know we're feeling it a little bit. Are you talking to owners? What are they kind of seeing around the country? What do you get for a feel? Um, you know, and do you get closer to election? Will it get better? Will it get worse? What's kind of your thought as far as what you're seeing in industry as a whole, at least with HVAC from what you're seeing
Yeah.
talking to different owners and stuff?
Well, I think there's a lot going on with the last several years. I think it was raining money on fools. So we had probably some of the easiest money as business owners to ever get through the PPP, EIDL, the ERC, all the programs for those who took advantage of those. Um, very low interest rate from the SBA, the ability to get hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially, the cheapest money you'll probably ever be able to get, free money as well, free. I use quotes on that. Um, so I think we saw that money in the bank for a lot of owners, and we kind of let down I guess we let the excuses roll in, right? We've got COVID here, we've got all these other excuses. It's hard to hire people. They're supplementing incomes. We're all, not everybody, but there's checks going out from the government in the mail, and so money came easy, and inflation hadn't hit yet. Well, then we get the roller coaster of material of inflation, starting with
Mm-hmm.
equipment, and then shortly after that we get the pressure on wages. So now we
Mm-hmm.
can't, pretty high pressure on wages because of inflation, right?
Yeah.
And then we have equipment availability problems through different manufacturers potentially. So a lot of problems there. And then the money starts running out in 23 for a lot of businesses. And then they look at
Mm-hmm.
their operation. Why are we losing money? Why is our capitalization in a poor position? And what they find out is, well, we've let our standards down so much because we felt like we had a lot of excuses to give. Now the excuses are gone, so are we giving the same value? So is it truly because things are so much more expensive, or is it a little bit of that plus a little bit of we haven't done a good job of maintaining the level of service and value that we provide our customers? And I think if we're honest with each other, I think that took a dip during that time frame. Now,
Oh, I'd agree with that.
yeah, and so I think we have to, and there's a saying out there, if the price is too high, the value is too low, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
we have
Yeah.
to go out. The prices are what the prices are.
Yeah.
We are going to have to figure out how, from business owner, contractor, etc., if we're going to be that customer centric business type, how do we equalize our level of service to that price point? So
Mm-hmm.
you're right, that price point is tough right now. We're talking about, $15,000, 18,000, $20,000 HVAC systems. That's a
Oh,
that is
absolutely.
that is tough. So, how do we get, so what are people doing? They're, if they saved up for that, those are the great customers that saved up cash money and have that, and
Woohoo.
we love that. There's also the good credit folks that can get finance that we can move forward with. Fantastic. But a lot
Yeah.
of people are just saying, you know what? I pulled my savings out. I'm not, the cost of everything. And I know we have the consumer price index, which is an average, but really you take all those independently, that's how much more that people are paying for those independent segments of the economy, right? So you go back and you've got all those headwinds. So people are probably doing repair at a lot higher clip, even if the repair is higher ticket, then they probably are moving to replacement if we don't have somebody there to say this is really your best option. And there's people making some bad choices out there related to their HVAC system because they're trying to save a buck. We have to do a better job of helping them understand, especially from an efficiency standpoint, how much money
Mm-hmm.
they potentially could be losing. And so if the math works in our favor, then we should be able to, recommend the customer to make that decision, and they make that decision based on what they want to make it. But you're right, it's becoming a lot harder now. Luckily, our distribution system of equipment has become better.
Got a lot better. Oh,
Yeah,
no, it's even last year's pretty good, but this year, even with some of the changes that are going on in the industry, no, we're not having issues. Timeliness maybe just on some stuff because we want stuff here sooner,
right.
but because it changes with the refrigerator and whatnot. But yeah, as far as availability, this isn't like 22 where I'm pulling from 5 different supply houses
Yeah,
through my
you're
distributors to get a system together,
yeah.
so we can do an install.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you're looking for commercial, package units or anything, you know, like that, then you're 100 weeks out or something. I mean, I remember getting stupid
Well,
numbers like that. Um,
Well, some of your commercial split systems and that kind of stuff still out there a little bit, but I think it depends on your manufacturer too. If you're like Lennox or Allied, you got equipment that's available. If you're now, I sell Rude. That's my main line. Now they don't do a ton of 7.5 ton splits, so they're like at 28 freaking weeks. It's like really,
yeah, yeah,
but I mean, but I don't think they push a lot. Lennox does a lot of the commercial and split, rooftop package market. So it's like, well,
yeah,
okay, you know,
yeah.
it,
You're
it you
right.
know
And
it
that
all
was
depends on your manufacturer. So
Well, and that was my coaching at the time. I remember is, hey, I've got this deal with whoever, they can't get me on my equipment. Well, they're doing you no good. You find equipment you can sell, and they can get it to you, because you can't sell without equipment. So I don't.
no,
You kind of got to go with the people that are able to provide the equipment for you. And yeah, that's great that they've done well. And I mean, you can go back to them, but if they don't have something for you, you don't have a
yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I deal with the company's called Good and Company. They're regional. Their headquarters in Minneapolis. They got a branch in Omaha and Sioux Falls. And actually, my salesman's out of Sioux Falls, so I deal a lot with their branch up there. I've never had. I mean, even if they did have everything in one branch, I never waited more than 20. If they had in their system, I never waited more than 24 hours for equipment. So they would get
well,
me equipment, and so I never had a problem. That you talk to other guys, if they were like
right.
Lennox dealers, oh great, well, you're a dealer, but you ain't gonna have equipment for 6 months. Well, I'm a dealer, or I'm a diamond dealer, or whatever it is, and be like, even them guys were kind of getting the heave ho, and it's kind of like, what's the point of having a relationship if you're going to get the whole heave ho from your distributor? It just doesn't work. So,
Well,
um,
choices had to be made, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, well,
yeah, I think they were making choices on who they were going to give their equipment to, because I guarantee you they had some, but you didn't
mm-hmm.
make the cut, so you've got to go find it, where you can find
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. You need the varsity. You're JV. You got to go on down the road.
you're not selling
Said,
enough for us to hold this stuff for you,
yeah,
so you
yeah,
got to find
yeah,
another
yeah.
option.
I guess you're going to go sell Gianna junk this week.
Yeah. Well,
All my Gibden people just love that, especially Mr. Rattray down in Texas.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of equipment that kind of surfaced that didn't get that got more play. So it actually gave some of these names that probably decent equipment that just haven't been utilized, but because they had such a good supply in a
Yeah.
network already, they kind of leverage themselves to kind of be more of a name brand now, but more of the minor lines that they're hearing, and they're probably all owned by the big boys anyway. But you know how that works.
Wow, there's five or six manufacturers with 30 different friggin' names. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
if you want to sell the El Crapo line, well, here you go.
Yeah,
You can sell the Goodmans, you can sell the um, Airflow, you can sell Weather King, you can sell Payne. Everybody's got their what I call their El Cheapo line. Oh, I get it so much cheaper. Well, I don't know. I found that I do enough volume that my pricing is good enough that even if they give me the value line, my pricing usually beats it.
yeah,
So it's like,
that's where
it's
you
like
want to
that's
get.
why that's why I don't mess around. Why'd you have 2 or 3 lines? Because I don't need to, and I don't want to have to deal with 3 distributors. I'd rather deal with 1 or 2 parts distributor and equipment distributor, and that's it. I don't need 10 free distributors, and I don't need to go shop price. Oh, I mean, you need to
So
shop price, but I if I need something, I want to know they're going to do whatever they need to do to get it to me so I can take care of my customer.
so that's the same mindset that you have as a business owner. You expect your distributor to have the same mindset, right? We are customer focused. I need you. Yeah. I'll pay a little bit more premium if you get me my equipment when I need it, and I can satisfy my customer and continue that cheerleader customer loop is what I call it, right?
Yeah. Here's
Um,
what I will.
but
Yeah, you're 100% right. Absolutely.
yeah, and so back
So,
to you know the headwinds that we have from the economy, right? And where I see it going is it is an election year. It's going to be a roller coaster. You know, the stock market's not the economy, right? But unless you're in office and it either does you well to say it or not, right? But stock market seems to be doing okay. Housing market seems to be doing okay. They haven't, they probably slowed down a little bit, but some of the drivers really haven't slowed. I think, we just haven't caught up with the inflation that we're seeing from a common household in America. So I
mm,
think that's going to continue probably for a while,
yeah.
and the election will dictate which way we go, probably for the
Yeah.
next 4 years plus.
Yeah.
I would definitely leverage as much pricing, advantage you can. It's you still have to be about the customer. We can still power through this. Back to the financials, right? Cash flow is so important. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
you're used to selling twice as much equipment, and now you're getting a $2,000 ticket from a service rather than a $12,000 to $15,000 you know install.
Replacement. Yeah.
You do that 50% more, that could be pretty devastating. So without financials, ha- we may have to make some tough business decisions. Maybe that install crew, we have to downsize an install crew, or figure something, or find a better salesperson. I don't know.
Yeah.
Certainly I would like to continue to build up that top line as much as you can, because that allows you for growth. But sometimes in certain economic circumstances within your business, we have to make those tough calls.
Yeah.
So either we figure out
Yeah.
how to sell more, or we've got to figure out how to run more proficient.
Well, the other thing is if you get an opportunity to put cash aside,
Yes.
that's it. That's the other thing. I told you we spent quite a bit of money this spring. Well, we're finally starting to see where we're going to finally come back out of this, and that's why I told my kid. I said, and the ABAG business says once we get a chance to put some cash back in the bit, away, need to do it because that's just part of business. Don't need to be buying a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Need to stop buying stuff. But back to my distributor, you talked about that.
Hmm.
And here's my thing with my distributor. Like I said, if I call my rep for Good and Company right now, his name's Tyler Decker. He's great. He's a kid, but he's the same age as my Hayden. If I call him right now and need to put in an order, he'll pick up the damn phone. He might be doing whatever his kids, but he'll pick up the phone. If I call
Yeah.
his boss, you know, I call certain people, they're going to pick up the phone if I need something today. If you know, and where I don't have time with it, and I listen, I don't want to be calling my distributors. I don't want to be calling people, but if I need to get something, I need to get it. I'm not waiting until Tuesday because it's a holiday weekend. If your distributors one that they close the doors at 5 o'clock on Friday, don't give a shit about you until Tuesday, they're probably in my world they're the wrong distributor for me. I
Right.
just don't have time for it. If my customer needs something done or we need a part, that's how it is. And unfortunately, because if I don't do it, somebody else will. And that's and that's where you know that's
Yeah.
that's how I've rolled my business. And listen, I've made some distributors, man. And it's like I don't really care. I said, this is a 24/7, 365 business. When it's 70 degrees and sunny, no one gives a crap about the air conditioning. But let me tell you what, it's 70 degrees and sunny and their shitter's backed up. Guess what? They want the shitter to work. It's shocking how that works,
Yeah.
when you flip it over to the plumbing side. But when it's -10 outside and it's freaking your furnace ain't it broke or it's bad or it's 95 degrees and you're sweating you know what off and
Hmm.
you want somebody there now to fix the damn thing. Well,
Oh yeah.
that's the
It's
business we're in.
yeah. And it's oftentimes, you forget about them until you need them, right? That's the unfortunate part about our well, the HVAC side, well, plumbing probably as well, right? Most people don't
Yeah.
remember the last company that was out to look at their HVAC system. That's why we have to do a good job of reminding them, building advantage plans, helping us. People say, "Remember
For
us? We're the company that came out."
furnace stickers, AC stickers, water heater stickers, softener stickers.
Oh
Got
yeah,
a name and a phone number on it. You know what? Pick it up. Old. Me and Randy Smith went round and round it, and Randy's retired now and being grumpy, but that's okay because him and me went round and round. But he has some great low cost, no cost ideas. If you're a new business owner, even if you're an existing business owner, if you're not doing some of the stuff that he recommended, you have the sheet that they talk about. Say this is any business. If you're marketing your business, and when I say marketing, top of mind awareness. Hey, water heater's broke. Hey, Wallstein Plumbing was here and fixed the water heater last. Let's give them a call. Or hey, go to the furnace. Hey, AirServe was here and fixed the furnace or their AC. Hey, let's give them a call. Or hey, we got the service car.
yeah,
That's how your marketing is going to work. It's not because they want the HVAC. I might be fun to drink Bush Light with or talk football with, but that's not why you got
yeah.
me over there. If you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you
So
walk in that door and it's 85 degrees in their house in the summertime, and you start talking about Iowa football before you're talking about the HVAC system. I don't. You probably be fine with that if it was your house at 85 degrees, but everybody else in Iowa is probably not going to be very happy to
uh,
hear about the
yeah.
Iowa football team when
The
it's
only time this
85.
the only time this ever came back to me, and this is kind of my last story here, but someone they had this guy on the website. You know how they do these cameos about these pictures of people that they got the quote unquote air serve bag, which I hate by the way. That are dressed up in a tech shirt, all prim and proper and dressed. And I come to the door and I listen, I got my tech shirt on or whatever. But listen, I'm not skinny. I'll call for what it is. I'm 300 pounds. I'm whatever. Well, you don't look like the guy on the internet. Yeah, guess what? I could fix a damn thing. He can't.
So, are you
Oh,
volunteering for our next promo uh, marketing pictures? Is that what I'm
yeah,
hearing?
yeah. I have despite this, I have a face for radio. I mean, if you want to use me in my bib overalls, knock yourself out. You want to put a white shirt on me, it ain't happening.
Oh,
So,
white shirt. Yeah, everywhere I've ever worked, if you're wearing a white shirt, everybody will say, "Well, you didn't plan on working that day." No matter where I've worked, that's the way it goes. So
yeah, well, don't worry. Like I said, if I got my overalls on, that's because you know what, I got to go get dirty somewhere, or they got to see plumber crack, but no one wants to see plumber crack. So
no,
try to do the world a favor. So
no,
but,
I think that's intentional. Being in the automotive space and trying to understanding how you don't like people watching you while you work. I think that's what plumbers do. They do that so the homeowner just leave the room because they don't want to see that. So that's a defense mechanism by all plumbers.
Yeah, there you go. It says, hey, honey, there you go. So,
Keeps them out of the
yeah,
kitchen or bathroom.
with the G string or whatever the hell
Oh my
they call.
gosh. I have to edit that out. Travis's undergarments of choice.
There you go. So, uh, anyway, well, Brandon, I appreciate it. I know it's a holiday. I know you got other stuff to do, like be drinking bourbon and cokes and doing
Maybe
and
some of
hanging out with
that.
your wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to go back and finish building the Taj Mahal of chicken coops, but
Well, send some
appreciate.
pictures. I'll be
I,
interested to see what it looks like.
I will. A comic. You can do a lot of things with a comic box. I'll just leave it at that. So I'll get some pictures. But appreciate having you on. Like I
Yeah.
said, if you want to, his name is Brandon Bushey. Obviously, he's got a full time job. But if you want to pick his brain a little bit, get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Get a hold of me. Travis at airservecb.com or call my office 712-256-4443. Give us a call or 712-308-1500 on the plumbing side. Like I said, I could put you in contact with Brandon. Obviously, he's got a full time job. We're not trying to get him fired, and he's not looking for a new job. Brad Roberson, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So, but definitely some good insight, and like to have you back on again at some point.
Yeah.
So I
No, my
think
pleasure.
you had some good insight. So,
Yeah, my pleasure.
and
And
hopefully I didn't get you fired.
no, I think we're in good shape. I think we're in good
Yeah.
shape. So I'll be
So,
around. No, I appreciate you having me on. I love talking about this stuff. There it's a complex business, but
yes,
it's
very
not
much.
an impossible business,
No,
right?
definitely not.
So we can definitely, again, stuff like this is what you have to be listening to and watching to avoid some of those potholes and tripwires in your business. So the more you can take in, um, the better off you're going to be. But you have to keep in mind there's always more good ideas out there than you can put into your business at any given point in time. So where's the value? What's the most important thing that you can? What nugget can you take from this call and put into your business right now that'll move the needle the most?
You're 100%
So,
right on that, and it's never usually a big thing. It's usually a small thing that changes it.
oh
So,
yeah, oh
I
yeah.
mean, how that works.
So,
So, anyway, well,
uh,
thank you, Brandon. We'll talk soon.
all right, brother. I'll talk to you later.